Good morning, class. It's our read aloud time, or as we like to call it in the classroom, it's our circle time, part of our circle time. But I'm going to read a story to you today, and it's most kids' favorite. It's called Charlie Anderson. And look who came to read this story with me. It's Brownie. I showed you him on our first classroom video that I sent to you, the one that I sent all around the room, and Brownie was sitting on the couch all by himself. Well, he's going to sit with me and read the story to you today. We ready? I feel like I'm talking. Charlie Anderson is by Barbara Abercrombie, and it's illustrated by Mark Graham. Does anybody have cats at home? If you do, this will be a great book. It's all about this little kitten, and his name is Charlie Anderson. One cold night, a cat walked out of the woods, up the steps, across the deck, and into the house where Elizabeth and Sarah lived. Can you come to the front office, please? Able to the front office. What is that right there? Yell it out. Say it's a pumpkin. He curled up next to the fireplace to get warm. He watched the 6 o'clock news on TV. Do cats watch 6 o'clock news? I don't think so. He tasted their dinner. He tried out their beds. He decided to stay, and the girls named him Charlie. Every morning, Charlie disappeared into the woods again. There's the girls. At night, when he came home, Elizabeth brushed him clean, fed him dinner, and made a space for him at the foot of her bed. He liked Elizabeth's bed the best. Sometimes she would wake up in the middle of the night and hear him purring in the dark. Can you make a cat sound? How do cats sound? Do they sound like meow, or do they purr sometimes? Can you make a purr sound? Sarah called him baby and dressed him up in doll clothes. You think the cat liked that? I probably wouldn't. When it snowed, Elizabeth and Sarah's mother heated Charlie's milk before he left for the woods. He grew fatter and fatter, and every day he purred louder and louder. On weekends, the girls stayed with their father and stepmother in the city. They wanted to bring Charlie with them, but their mother said he'd miss the woods. Charlie's a country cat, she told them. One stormy night, Charlie didn't come home. Elizabeth and Sarah stayed out on the deck and called his name. But no Charlie. Where was he? Why wouldn't he come out of the woods? Was he all right? I think they were worried about Charlie. What do you think? All night long, Elizabeth listened to the rain beating on the roof and the wind rattling the windows. Was he cold? Was he hurt? Where was Charlie? In the morning, Elizabeth and Sarah looked for him. They asked the lady down the road if she'd seen their cat. She said no and offered them cookies, but they were too worried to eat anything, even her chocolate chip cookies. I bet I wouldn't have been worried to eat those. I love chocolate chip cookies. They went to the new house on the other side of the woods. Have you seen our cat? They asked. His name is Charlie. He's very fat and has gray striped fur. We have a cat with gray striped fur, said the man, but his name's not Charlie, it's Anderson. He's upstairs asleep in our bed. They heard a meow, and down the stairs came a very fat cat with gray striped fur. Charlie, Sarah and Elizabeth cried. No, that's Anderson, said the woman. We've had him for 7 years, right, Anderson? He looked at her and began to purr. But it's Charlie, Sarah said. He looked at her and purred louder. Is he ever here at night? Sorry, kids. Is he ever here at night? Elizabeth asked. Anderson is a hunter, said the man. He prowls the woods at night. Charlie sleeps in my bed at night, Elizabeth said. He leaves for the woods after breakfast. Anderson comes home at breakfast time, said the woman. He leaves right after dinner. They all looked at the cat. He sat at their feet, very happy and very fat. They call him Charlie Anderson now. I love this story. Sometimes in bed at night, Elizabeth asked him, "Who do you love best, Charlie Anderson?" And she can hear him purring in the dark. Just like Elizabeth and Sarah, Charlie has 2 houses, 2 beds, 2 families who love him. He's a very lucky cat. Don't you think so? Charlie Anderson had the best of both worlds. He was getting fed in the morning. He was getting fed at night. He was a very happy, fat cat. The end.